Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AUIS. I'm Merasîmî, president of this institution. I'm delighted to have you here. The mission of AUIS, as you know, is to serve this country and the region, and to do so by fostering innovation and creativity. Our purpose is to promote the ideal of free inquiry and to provide a privileged space for open, informed, and responsible thought. We are very fortunate to be situated in this island of stability and security in a troubled region. This country, after having suffered so much and having sustained so many sacrifices, now looks at horizons of great promise, but also of great challenges. We are also very pleased and proud to carry in our name the city in which we are located, with its tradition of intellectual vitality and the spirit of encompassing toleration that marks it above all cities of the Middle East. So we are delighted to move beyond our undergraduate mission and start the Institute of Regional International Studies to move to a higher level of inquiry and to provide a forum in which people can come together from the four corners of the world to discuss matters of importance. So this is the first of an annual meeting, which is the highest expression of this new institute, in which we seek to put together, and we have already assembled here, as you will soon see, a distinguished group of academics, journalists, analysts, men and women of public life, who all seek to understand and to promote understanding, by which I mean both the intellectual understanding of matters and problems, but also the mutual understanding of people and peoples. And on this note, I want to introduce the founder of this university and former Prime Minister, Dr. Barham Saleh.
میوانە بەڕێزەکان بەخێر بن بۆ سلێمانی بە دیدارتان شادین لە دیداری سلێمانی کە هیوادارین ساڵانە پێکەوە کۆ ببینەوە لەگەڵ کۆمەڵێک پسپۆڕ و شارەزا بۆ تاوتوێکردنی ئەمڕۆ و ئاوردانەوە لە ڕابردوو و هەروەها باسکردنی پێشهاتەکان. لەم ساتانەدا کە 25 ساڵ دوای کارەسات و ماڵوێرانی ئەنفال و چیمیاباران لە کوردستانێکە کە ڕۆژ بە ڕۆژ ڕوو لە ئاوەدانی لە ئارامی و لە کاتێکا کە ڕۆژهەڵاتی ناوەڕاست ڕوو لە هەژان و گۆڕانکاری گەورەیە گرنگە سلێمانی پایتەختی ڕۆشنبیری کوردستان گرنگە کوردستان ئامێز بگرێتەوە بۆ ئەم میوانانە و ئێرە بکەینە جێگەیەک بۆ باسکردنی ئەم بابەتە گرنگانە و ئەم دیدارە بکەینە بوارێکی ساڵانە دەرفەتێکی ساڵانە کە ببێتە مایەی باسکردنی ئەو مەسەلە چارەن و سازانە نەک تەنها بۆ کوردستان و عێراق بگرە بۆ سەرتاسەری ڕۆژهەڵاتی ناوەڕاست. ضيوفنا الكرام، أرحب بكم أجمل ترحيب في السليمانية عاصمة الثقافة الكردستانية، وأتمنى لكم إقامة طيبة، ونتمنى لهذا الملتقى أن يكون محفلا لحوار جدي حول قضايا اليوم وآفاق المستقبل. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, it's truly an honor for me to welcome you here in my hometown of Slêmanî, in the cultural capital of Kurdistan, and more importantly, at the American University of Iraq in Slêmanî. This university is intended to be a catalyst for innovation in higher education and a place where free debate and free inquiry takes place. This started as a distant dream, but thanks to the help of our donors, many of them are here, and thanks to the help of our dedicated faculty and staff, and above all, our students are turning this university into a reality that we can all be proud of, and we could look at as an agent for change and reform in this troubled part of the world. I welcome you to Slêmanî Forum, which is, as President Moulakis has just mentioned, is intended to move the university beyond its undergraduate studies program and to branch out into research and inquiry about issues of current affairs and geopolitics, economy, and other matters of importance to this region and the world. We are convening at the Slêmanî Forum this year, which is the inaugural session, at a moment of profound change in the Middle East. Perhaps some can say the Middle East has always been at moments of change, but at least in my memory and in contemporary history, never like this before. Everything is on the move. Everything seems to be in a state of flux with dire consequences to the region, to the peoples of this land, but also to the international community at large. The changes in Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and the mindless violence of Syria are all issues to consider and have serious implications, not only to this region, but indeed to the rest of the world. This forum is convening at a time when we are commemorating the 10th anniversary of the overthrow of the Saddam Hussein regime. That was truly a profound moment in the history of Iraq, in the history of Kurdistan, and in the history of the Middle East. 10 years on, it is a moment of reflection of that painful transition of the last 10 years, the gains and the missteps, and the disappointments and the successes that we have suffered throughout the last 10 years. But it is also a moment to consider our future and consider the likely options and scenarios for Iraq, for Kurdistan, for the Middle East at large. For sure, I can say that we simply cannot go on like before. For sure, I can say it is a moment that we need to take stock of our reality and have a serious dialogue among Iraqi communities and leaders, and also with our neighbors. This situation in Iraq cannot continue as it is, and we need to go back to the negotiating table, the discussion table, and basically identify the pitfalls of our process of transition and making sure that the 10 years from now will be drastically different from the 10 years of the past 10 years. Of course, there are many gains and successes that we can be proud of in Iraq, whether it is the ratification of the constitution, the elections, and many of the other changes, profound changes that have taken place, including what you see in Iraqi Kurdistan. But also we cannot be ignorant or indifferent to the many difficulties that we have suffered, Iraqis have suffered over the past 10 years. That is why, in the spirit of concern for our future and the future of our generations, we really need to have a very serious debate about these issues of interest and concern for our people, for our region, and for the world at large. I cannot say that there will be easy answers to these issues. These are intractable issues rooted in history, culture, politics, and also regional and international interest. But I hope that this university, this Slêmanî Forum, can bring experts and people of goodwill together, policymakers, opinion makers, to making sure that this debate is guided in the right direction. We have been, many of us have been, at fora, at gatherings, international gatherings throughout the world, in wonderful locations around the world with wonderful conference facilities. But I hope that Slêmanî will offer you, our dear guest, a welcoming environment, and we could compensate for some of the difficulties of logistics with the warmth and the seriousness of purpose that Slêmanî and the people of Slêmanî offer this part of the world. We have embarked in Kurdistan on a major process of change. Yes, not everything is ideal here, but I want to remind you, 25 years ago, we had the Anfal campaign unleashed as a campaign of genocide to eradicate Kurdish identity and Kurdish people. 25 years ago, almost to the day, on the 16th of March, Saddam Hussein unleashed his chemical weapons on Halabja, killing about 5,000 Kurds. Imagine what has happened over the past 25 years. The transformation is amazing in Kurdistan. We are part of this region. We are proud of what we have achieved. We are also mindful of our limitations and difficulties and the need for reform and improving the quality of governance and quality of life and democracy in our region. But compared to where we were 25 years ago, compared to the neighborhood that we live in, this is, I can call, a success. This is one of the successes of the overthrow of Saddam Hussein and what has unleashed after it. But this will not be viable unless the whole region is also put in proper context, particularly Iraq and our neighborhood. I hope Kurdistan, beyond being just a success story for Kurds, it can also offer a model, a catalyst for change and reform across our region. I'm proud of my Kurdish heritage and identity, but the Kurdish interest lies in being connected with our neighbors, connected with the rest of the world. Kurdish pride cannot be at the expense of our relations with the rest of the world. The success of Kurdistan depends critically on the success of our neighbors and working together for our common interest. I hope this university and the Slêmanî Forum will be part of that message that we want to help. We want to be together with our neighbors, the neighboring people, in order to make sure that we all succeed in providing what our people deserve and aspire to in terms of good quality of life, dignity, and security. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I would say again that this forum, on its first annual session, I wish it every success, but I hope that next year we will be gathered here and contemplating issues that can take us to where we need to be, a Middle East that is at peace with itself and at peace with the world. I cannot think of a better person to really open our proceedings at the Slêmanî Forum, but my very good friend, Hoshyar Zebari, the Foreign Minister of Iraq. Hoshyar and I think we are very good friends. We go back a long, long time when we were in the students' movement in Europe and in the United States. Hoshyar was quite an articulate, tireless advocate for Kurdish rights and for Iraqi democratic rights. He was certainly a very influential voice for the Iraqi democratic movement and for the Kurdish resistance movement in the years before the overthrow of Saddam. After the overthrow of Saddam, Hoshyar became the face of Iraqi diplomacy, and I think very few people would disagree with my characterization of him. He has put a very good face on a very difficult situation. That is a testament to his diplomatic skills. That is a testament to his commitment to making this part of the world a better place to live in. I'm honored and grateful that Hoshyar could join us and would open these proceedings for us. I give you Hoshyar Zebari.
President Moulakis, my dear friend and comrade and colleague, Dr. Barham Saleh, thank you very much for your kind words and appreciation of what we are doing for the sake of our country, Iraq, for the sake of Iraqi Kurdistan, for the sake of all the people of the region. I'm really very impressed, honored, and delighted to be here at this Slêmanî Forum. I personally didn't expect the amount of organizations and a number of guests and friends that you have gathered together. I believe this is the first such forum, not only in Kurdistan, but maybe in Iraq. Because the very idea of debate, of exchange of ideas really were an alien things, in Saddam's Iraq at least. In the new Iraq also, we haven't done a good job to bring together. In fact, we were almost always the guest of other forums to listen to us, to question us about the future of our country and where we are going. So to take the initiative or to take the lead, I think all those participants and organizers who have helped to make this forum is really, really an achievement. And I truly mean it, an achievement. And it also, it's so timely. It's so timely. The international, regional, and institute for studies that you are proposing, there is no place that this can hold better than Kurdistan, because it is at the thick of all these regional conflicts and international changes. And that's why really both the timing, the location of this forum and of this institute, I personally wholeheartedly support it. And today, for me, it was a good excuse to be here. Otherwise, I should have been in Baghdad at the cabinet meeting today. So this is a good alibi. But no, I think the same subject, actually. It has been 25 years since the campaign of the notorious Anfal against the Kurdish people, that some of us, myself personally, was personally involved in that. We were at the receiving end. And also our campaign with many Kurdish friends, Iraqi opposition leaders abroad, Barham, my good friend, I think we succeeded really to convey the message, to the world of the atrocities or the genocide that has inflicted upon our people and the brutality of Saddam Hussein. We followed these things. Now the international organizations for chemical weapons, we succeeded, in fact, to have one of its rooms named for Halabja. Also, a number of European parliaments have started to move to consider this case of a genocide in Sweden and the United Kingdom, and there are efforts in the US Congress and so on. So, but I remember one of our British colleagues who used to help us, he was a professor, when the Halabja massacre happened, told me, I was a young activist student, this is a turning point in the history of your people. That the very atrocity will be a turning point in the history of your people and of Saddam Hussein too. But really, standards have changed. International standards have changed a great deal. During those days when the international community moved or acted or lobbied or voiced, now what happened in Syria when a regime bombed its people with Scud missiles and there is no such reaction. That itself tells us really we cannot take things for granted. International politics, regional politics could change, could move. Who would have imagined 25 years ago, 10 years ago, that Turkey, our neighbors, will enjoy the best of relationship with Iraqi Kurdistan? I've been involved in this debate, in these discussions, when we used to be held accountable for Kurdistan flag that has appeared in one of the Kurdish websites or NGOs. Now to see this exchange between the region and Turkey is a major a revolutionary change, I would say. And also, 10 years ago, my good friend Barham mentioned it. If we take stock of whether the regime change has been worth it or not, I think here you may have different views or opinion, and the Western media, intellectuals, are all focused on the 10th anniversary, more significantly than our Iraqi or Kurdish journalists or academics. For them, it is a major, major event. Baghdad is full of researchers, of people from the press, from the media, who want to find out. But this in itself really would not have been possible, this forum, 10 years ago. I mean, this very gathering. We could not have managed to put this together. I think some major changes has happened in Iraq ever since. And one indication that it has been worth it, that the great majority of the Iraqi people have embraced democracy, have embraced the new regime. There are minorities, there are grievances here and there, but if you look at the political development ever since, the number of elections, the constitution, the freedoms, the liberties, the economic change, the change of government policy from a monopoly over everything or a central economy to a free market, the changes of a number of laws and bureaucracy, really it has been a nightmare. We have inherited a regime, a defunct regime, unworkable, dysfunctional system of governance, and it's legal, administrative, economic. I remember telling one of our experts for a company to be registered, even now in Iraq, how many signatures you need to approve. We said 28. After we reduced it from over 100 such, now you need 28 such signature, in fact, to register or to allow a company to operate. Or the reports yesterday we heard from Amnesty International about torture in Iraq. We all campaigned against torture, against human rights violations. It was a central theme of our campaign. We couldn't turn into a torturer in the new Iraq. I personally have investigated some of these allegations and so on. Believe me, there is no such policy or government policy that condone or endorse this one. But those, the actors are the same. This is the legacy of Saddam's, the mentality of the police, of the mukhabarat. I investigated a case the other day that the interrogator was an officer of the general security during Saddam's. يعني ضابط في الأمن العام السابق. Therefore, really, we should not put every blame on the government or on the officials now. Yes, there are violations. Yes, there are misuse, abuse. Really, we are not endorsing that. But it's the legacy itself. If we take that legacy to Iraq foreign policy or relations, foreign relations, again, Iraq was isolated, was seen as an outlaw state, a rogue state, violators of all international standards, and it was isolated not only in the international community, within the Arab community, within the Islamic community too. While if you go back and read history, Iraq was one of the signatories of the UN Charter of the a founder of the Arab League, one of the founder of the non-aligned movement or the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and so on. But because of the policies, because of the wars, because of the brutality the regime used against its own people, it was really an outlaw state. So how to bring this country back again to the international community, to its Arab fold, to its neighborhood, was a task that we took to undertake it. First and foremost was to regain our sovereignty after 2003. And that's why we succeeded to sign the agreement of the withdrawal of American troops peacefully, successfully from our country. Then another task for us was how to get out of Chapter 7 regulations of sanctions on disarmament, on weapons of mass destruction, on oil for food arrangements, and many, many other